Yeah, those top three, Sully, Sag, and Soul Reaver, have been playing pretty good, consistent TFT. They're the only ones who have top 4 both games. Wage and Iverson, back to the more 1st or 8th, and not as much 8th, but 1st and 7th. We're starting to see some patterns emerge here.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll see if Weijing can turn it around to another first here in game 3. They've been incredibly strong all weekend, but taking a 7th is pretty rough. We're jumping on board with Sully, our winner from the last game. Going to be grabbing a sword to start. Finds the belt off of the first creep round. And just as a note, Namzi for this lobby is a mage. So that's opening up another composition that we may see.
Yeah, and Sully with the sword start and already has a strong Jade opener with the Wukong pair and Karma, or at least the potential for a strong Jade opener. And something important to note, actually, Sully, I think, is one of the few AD, more AD focused. There's a lot of players in this lobby who are more AP focused, a lot of players who are really trying to play for the capped out dragon AP boards, some players who are going for kind of a mix of both, but I feel like we've seen Sully just play a lot of AD, and he's one of the few players who has been doing that, has been willing to do that. And in a lobby where everyone else is kind of contesting each other for these other lines, that can actually be a really big boon to have your lines generally be more uncontested.
All right, Bonky Kong angle.
I mean, if he had 2 offensive item components, I'd say sure, go for it. But especially knowing Sully and he wants to be super consistent, and he's ahead right now. He's tied for first. He doesn't need to risk anything on Bonky Kong. Why would we risk anything on Bonky Kong? Like, I want to see as much as the next person, but why?
No, it's not a Bonky Kong angle, but he is going to be able to make a Wukong 2 to help the early game. Actually, finding an Olaf is going to just leave that open as an option. Being able to play Olaf from 2-1 is incredibly strong. Thrill, a pretty good augment for it in general. So we might see Sully just lean into an Olaf build immediately by having that on 2-1, can start sacrificing it in stage 2.
Knowing Sully, though, he'll probably... There's a good chance he uses this Olaf just as part of that Jade build that we saw him play last game possible. And saw him play yesterday. So you have some options with this Olaf. You have a variety of builds involving Warrior. You have Olaf itself, like you talked about. You have Yone, my favorite thing, and you have the 7 Jade board that it fits very well in. So he's got options. It doesn't look like he's
sell it to play
right
Astral
now. Is he going to? He's okay. He's going to
so
sell off. He's going
to play Astral. Yeah.
So it looks like an Olaf game. If he was opting to hold the Wukong and maybe slime a Sunfire, it looks like he's going to slime the Sunfire anyway to save some HP, but it looks like he's going to be stacking Olaf, play the Astrals, really get the economy going. And yeah, It looks like an Olaf game for Sully.
Yeah. I mean, I like Olaf on 2-1. I think the first silver augment, of course, that's not fully going to dictate where you're going, but it's a nice one to have for Olaf, and the items are fine, right? You're already on a BF sword that can be an IE. Sunfire is really nice to help save HP in the early game. We might even see some wins happen for Sully, even while letting the Olaf die off very quickly. I'm a big Olaf fan for sure. It's no secret. And I guess, to be fair, Sully still does have the option to move into a Siphon Xiaoyu angle later in the game if they would like. But at the very least for now, the option for Olaf is there.
Yeah, just because he's sacking the Olaf early doesn't mean he has to go an Olaf-centric build. He could also be sacking it just to get the loose streak, get some extra stacks for when he eventually gets to the 7 Jade board. We'll check back in what line in that AD tree he decides to play later. For now, we're back with iLucky. Level 3 has not opted to go for the early. Level 4 took Blue Battery, looking to be more in that AP focus line.
Yeah, holding a couple of pairs and really looking for a Nasus. Has the Volibear and the Jax, but not being able to find that Guardian just yet to put in for the Shimmer Scale. And yeah, I mean, other than that, just pair of Vlads, pair of Sejuanis, and a pair of Talias. A little bit of junk on the board as well, and not able to make gold. Probably going to be able to lose streak. However, that Malphite is pretty tanky, and the Volibear staying healthy as well. So the Voli might snag this win. See the next hit. Yeah, it's not quite enough. It looks like it will just be a very nice loss here. Oh, maybe not. I'm wrong. Oh, I'm actually wrong.
Eep?
Yeah.
Eep? No. Okay. Lucky gets
Lucky
that win. That
win-loss.
That might actually be really unfortunate for him, depending on if he can hit some of these pairs next turn. So, well, if he gets the win, then sure, he'll be okay. But it's that win-loss. You want to be win streaking in this game, especially early. So we'll see if he can get that streak going later.
Yeah, and we've got Spell Sword as the Mirage. Currently, we've got 2 Mirage in for Trick P, but this is just AFK that's rolling. So we'll see where this gold ends up. I mean, already pretty rich, right? 20 gold on the side, still waiting for this AFK cash in.
He's going to have so much money. He's probably going to hit 50 gold instantly once the AFK cashes in.
Yeah.
And was also able to take a win on 2-1 off the slamming the Static Shiv on the Yone, setting up his board to be able to still able to have some board strength even while he's going AFK. AFK hits the second you take that augment. You can still move around your board. You can still slam items before you choose to take that augment. A small optimization, he put the Sejuani all the way to the left of his bench, so on 2-3 you can't move, you can't put that in yourself, but it will automatically teleport in onto the board despite you not moving it yourself. So good optimizations by TrickP and just good early AFK.
Yeah, I mean, 90 HP off of AFK, probably going to be at 50 gold. This is, I mean, that's a phenomenal position to be in.
That's
TrickP can pivot to trying to win streak right now if he finds the right units, he finds the right items, and having just that surplus of gold is going to put TrickP in a great position to capitalize into a top 4 later in the game, so long as it isn't too low roll.
Yeah, has the Static Shiv slammed already. It's just super open AP item. We're talking about a lot of AP players in this lobby. Oh, look, TrickP is going to be one of them, it looks like. Or doesn't even necessarily have to be AP for him. He has the Xayah option open. He's someone who we've seen is willing to play Xayah, and Static Shiv is an item that works in that build. So he's got options. I imagine he's going to be going a very fast 4-2 level 8 and just see what he hits.
Yeah, I mean, just noting on that for the amount of AP players in this game, Wei-Jin Iverson took Luden's Echo, Soul Reaver took Mage Heart, Lucky took Blue Battery. That's already 3 augments that were chosen that lean way heavier into the AP tree, and we would expect to see the AP tree played by those 3 players.
Yeah, Sag with the Archangels.
Yeah, that's Slam, so that's another AP, right?
It's so many AP players in this lobby. I mean, you're just hard chilling if your name is Sully and you're just like, hey, look at all these AP players. Oh, I got my Soyfin, I got my Jade, I got my Olaf. I'm good to go. Easy. Y'all have fun contesting the tiers and rods. I'm gonna get my swords.
Yeah, gonna be able to find swords and bows very easily. If it's Soyfen, mostly just swords, but if he ends up playing that Olaf line, picking up a few bows is gonna be nice as well. Jumping on with Sag. Got still 100 HP for win streak. The Ezreal with the Archangels. This 2-star Ezreal doing a little bit more than Appy's 3-star Ezreal was.
Just a little bit already, yeah. Appy's, that 3-star Ezreal, just an unfortunate lack of items, but with the Archangel Staff, like we said, already slammed, he's got super flexible items. I think it's not just the AP players in the lobby, it's that they're playing AP Flex. They're playing towards these generic AP items that work on a variety of carries. You've got the Gargoyle Stoneblade already, which is going to work if you have Idas as your front line, if you have the Terra as your front line. You've got a lot of really flexible options for Sag, and especially at 100 HP, it looks like he's going to maintain the win streak over Sully. So he's got a lot of room to play with. He's got a lot of options open. I think that's just the story of the lobby for a lot of these players. I've been talking all weekend about flowchart TFT. There's no flowcharts going on right now. It's just whatever you hit late game. We've got the start of the flowchart, but we haven't progressed that much further yet. Let's go with that.
Yeah. Sully was sitting on 3 different Jade units as well, so still staying open towards playing that Soyfin later on. Had a Karma, a Wukong, and a Jax on the bench. I'm gonna jump over to Wei-Jin Iverson. You know, this early 2-star Volibear for Wei-Jin Iverson has been a kind of staple of some of his better games. We see him ending up with massive win streaks off of this unit and converting with Shimmer Scale into just a massive amount of gold and converting to big late game boards and wins. And so this is kind of the start that Wei-Jin likes to see. He's got a 2-star Volibear. He is missing out on having his Jax, so he doesn't have the Shimmer in just yet, but that's potentially a lot of gold or a Siphon angle off of that dragon here on Krugs.
Yeah, it's opting to hang on to.
Never
mind. It's not opting to hang on. He's I don't know how comfortable he is on any of the siphon lines, but yeah, just gonna make the 30 gold, sell off those units. Items are a little bit awkward. He could maybe slam a Titan's Resolve on the Volibear, could go for like a Shroud, which doesn't, I mean, it's an okay slam at this point in the game, but it doesn't feel great. It looks like it is going to be a Titan's Resolve. That is going to be the best item for his board right now, even if it is going to be a little more awkward in the later portion of the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't hate TR to try and keep this win streak, because your Volibear 2 with the Sunfire Titan's Resolve, pretty good at holding on to the win streak, especially with the double 2-star Guardian front line. It's gonna be able to help give him even more shielding. He's a big bear right there. You got to be careful of that one. He's saying only you can prevent forest fires, but no one's stopping this one as he's lighting everyone up with the Sunfire Cape.
Indeed. The preventer of forest fires? Nah. We're causing the forest fires here.
Big win for Weijin. Offered another Ludens. First aid kit is potentially a good option.
I mean, it
synergizes
synergizes
like
pretty well,
yeah.
but yeah, it's not something you necessarily want to get stuck in late game. And ops for component grab bag, that should solve some of his rougher item situations, although does it really? Two bows. Not sure. He's rolling. He really wants to find Nasus, I'm guessing. Or not, really wants to try and find Jax. Yeah, sorry, I'm missing the wrong one. But yeah, he really wants to find the Shimmer Scale. Ups to roll a little bit, does not find the Jax, is going to cut his losses, stay at 30 HP. He's still relatively healthy economically, but what does he play? I think he just plays Soifin from here, honestly.
I'm wondering, okay, I see the vote. Yeah, I was actually going to ask.
Yeah.
I was wondering if we were going to see RFC or if we were just going to see a Zerat on the front. But RFC is going to be a big win streak creator with this volley. He is attacking so fast. This is just like, this volley is going to be an absolute beast for these stages of the game. Weijin is going to win streak, and we're going to see how that pivot turns out. We've seen Weijin play like this a lot over the course of the weekend, and it's generally worked out very well for him. So I like this adaptation to be like, all right, I hate my items. They're not fun, but I'm just going to make this Volibear extremely strong. I'm going to win streak, and I'm just going to use the gold that I generate to craft a good enough late game board to probably get me a top 4, maybe a top 3.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to be seeing some more AD players this lobby. Appies has a Bloodthirster and Infinity Edge, so he's going to be tending more towards the AD tree as well. Weijin Iverson has been more of an AP player, but could opt to play towards Soifin with those items. Even though he sold the Siphon to make Econ, I actually think that's pretty correct. It's hard to work that into your current board. You'll find Siphon will come back later, hopefully, we think, anyway. So we're playing around the Volibear 2 for now. I like the rapid fire cannon is an item that works on Siphon later in the game. It's good right now. The ZZ Rot portal doesn't do much when you already have good frontline. So good play from Weijin Iverson right now. Finds an Itis as well, and it is I believe the Gambler's Blade as the Shimmer Scale item. So he's got the Shimmer in now.
Yeah, he does have the Shimmer, which is going to be nice, and runs into Trick P, who did spend a little bit of gold, goes up to 7 with that Deja in, but the bear is a little too strong, not quite. That's going to cost Weijin big, losing that win streak. That hurts for Weijin, putting so much effort into making this volley strong enough to keep the win streak, getting a loss there against Trick P's Deja.
Trick P finding the win streak out of AFK. So there you go. He's in a good spot. He's, I believe, lost 10 HP since then, which I can see being on 2-5. But it looks like he is able to pick up a win streak since then. So off the Deja, there you go. Blue streak AFK, win streak out of it.
Yeah, and Trick B with the guild crest for that, so can play the guild Deja, which was a pretty strong composition. Is a pretty strong composition. We saw it do okay earlier today as well. Looking through trade sector for Renzer, picked as the second augment. I feel like it's pretty rare we see it picked as a second augment compared to a first, just because you lose a lot of value over the course of the game of not having it from the first augment, but still going to be getting some econ value from that. Right here for Appies, we see a first aid kit and an Axiom Arc for Sully, which is interesting considering this was, or sorry, not Axiom Arc, that's Battle Mage. It looks similar to me. My eyes. Battle Mage makes more sense. I was like, Axiom Arc is weird here. Battle Mage makes sense. We get some armor and AP.
I wonder what his other options are, because Battle Mage, if he's playing towards the AD line, is not the greatest. Like, it's cool, you get some armor, but it's not the greatest augment, so maybe a bit lower on the options. But I think just overall, as we're taking stock of the lobby and we're taking stock of the lobby complexion, we called out a lot of AP players earlier, but I think we're shaping up to now have more AD players just off of what players got dropped off their items. So we're looking at a bit more of a balanced lobby than we saw some of the past few games with more AP players.
Yeah, it's definitely going to open up a little bit as Sully able to take a win off of Spicy Appies. Saw Wage and Iverson losing again, so that board is starting to potentially fall off, or just this lobby is getting super strong, because it felt like Wage had a pretty strong board for this mid game. Picks up a couple losses, however. Renzer just grabbing a Zach 2, and Sully here has been playing the Olaf. It feels like it can be a commitment to Olaf, but he's still not 100% all in for it, keeping the items on that Nidalee for now so that they can go wherever he wants them to go.
He sold the Diana, which I think points more towards the 7 Jade with the Shio.
Okay, yeah,
so
for sure.
Not opting for the 4 scale score on Olaf. He's built Runans and Edge of Night, which are not great Olaf items. I think those point a little more within the AD tree towards Shio. So we're running it back with the 7 Jade for Sully.
Yeah, I still think Edge of Night's okay on Olaf, but totally agree with you there.
Yeah.
The Runan's not your favorite thing to have on him. And I think that, you know, the Diana is really the big thing, right? Selling that off, you're definitely not looking to play Olaf if you're going to sell a Diana, because you want to play the 4 scale scorn. Totally expect that to be a Soifin later on for Sully, but falling pretty low already to 42 HP, so gonna have to be careful. We'll have to see when that roll down comes in if Sully can find those dragons. As we check in with Soul Reaver, and Soul Reaver's doing something that I like to do with Lilia, because I think Lilia 2 is a pretty strong unit, and just using it as an item carrier in the mid game with your AP items, with whatever items you've got, she can be very, very powerful. And we're seeing a win streak from Soul Reaver in stage 3 with this Lilia too.
I think Kent would agree with you that Lilia is a very strong unit, and
Kent specifically would agree. Yeah.
Yes, Kent very specifically, and I agree too. This is a very strong mid-game item carrier. It looks like he's off the mage heart that you called out earlier. He's going to be looking for the Mage Namzi build, especially with these items with stacking the chalices. Finds a Soam, but without any tears, it could get a little rougher to play that unit. I keep rolling some. Finds a Soam too.
That puts you in a decision point, right? Because
is that a bait? It might be a bait.
It's weird, right? Because you have no Lagoon stacks for now, but this is a Soam 2 on 4-1. You have 2 great items, but you are missing kind of a tier item, right? You're kind of missing a blue buff, a Shojin, something like that. It could be a bait, but it's a Soam 2. That is a 2-star dragon on 4-1 that you can start to build your comp around. It's a mage. You've got the mage crests. It's a really tough decision. It looks like Soul Reaver. Yeah, he's gonna make it.
He's gonna make it. Sure, he's gonna pray for tears off Carousel or a blue buff off Treasure Dragon, because no mana generation item for Soam. Very specifically, no blue buff. Like, yeah, Spear Shojin can work, but it's not great. Cybernetic uplink for now will actually help out quite a bit. Yeah, it's gonna instantly pick that up. Finds a Namzi as well, actually, so he does have options. You could, even without the mana generation, you could actually play Soam 2 as the item carrier for Namzi, which feels weird with a 7-cost dragon as an item carrier for a 6-cost. But if he doesn't find... This keeps his options open. He's going to hold on to the Namzi. If he isn't able to find a blue buff off Treasure Dragon within a meaningful amount of gold, he can just play around the Soam.
Yeah, I mean, that could definitely work. Sells the Namzi though, so it looks like we're
okay. So he's committing
Soam
Soam
now, trying to make gold, commit to Soam. Maybe we'll see some rebuys on Namzis later if he, you know, doesn't feel like the items he finds are good enough. But he's got a lot of gold to work with. When we get to that Treasure Dragon, might be able to just look really aggressively for the perfect items for his Soam.
Yeah, and I think with him, he spent gold, the excess gold over 50 into levels, and opted to not hold the Namzi. I think he's just committing to the Soam, and it's a very interesting variant. Instead of stacking the Lagoons, which he doesn't have Lagoon stacks, he's not going to reach a capped out Lagoon board. He's just opting to play 7 Mage with Soam instead of Namzi. actually don't know if I've seen this before. I'm really curious to see how it works out this game.
Yeah, I mean, the option was there, right? You just you're just gifted a 2-star Sohm on 4-1. I think you're already in the mage line. Yes, Nomsy is your preferred carry here, but a Sohm 2 is going to be better than a Nomsy 1, I'm pretty sure, in this spot. And you can just work towards capping it because he has a lot of HP, a lot of gold. He's win streaking. He's got a lot of things open to still just make this board incredibly strong. So I like this out of Soul Reaver. I think he's being put in a very good position as Appies is playing Dark Flight. This is a little unexpected for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's Appy's just playing around what he thinks he's gonna end up having. He found the Bloodthirster Infinity Edge early. I think he just looked at those and was thinking, hey, Rengar is uncontested as an AD comp in this lobby. I'm going to play that. I have good items for it. I think I saw him have an early Swain, so that gives him some direction. So we'll see how he can pilot this comp. One small optimization that I will call out that I think shows his inexperience. He has stacked one Rengar instead of spreading those items out, it gives you an extra stack of Darkflight. And buffs up your Swain even that just that much more by the time that Swain is the last unit left. So I think that is a optimization he's not doing. I think shows his inexperience, but that doesn't mean he can't pull out a top 4 with this.
Yeah, I was going to mention that's going to hurt Appies quite a bit, not having that Darkflight Essence on the Rengars. Being able to have the Darkflight Essence on both Rengars, have an extra item on one of the Rengars. It's going to be a lot stronger than having the fully stacked one. But we'll see if Appies can maybe find a remover later and be able to correct that situation to help improve his board state. Just trying to find more items for the Swain. I think that makes a Morello with that.
Does make a Morello,
I believe he does have a rod on bench right now, so that's going to be solid for Appies. We're going to check over with Sully. The items have been moved to Olaf, but Xiaoyu is here as well, so might just be putting some items on Olaf, playing the Xiaoyu alongside it. And there is going to be the Siphon, so we might see a full pivot come through.
Yeah, there's the Siphon option. He has the 7 Jade and Xiaoyu, so yeah, I think he just passes it. So he's committing to the 7 Jade line.
Yeah.
And finds the Xiaoyu too as well. Yeah,
that's big. All right, Sully finding his composition down on 33 HP, but this should be able to stabilize. No items on the Xiaoyu yet. Going to be going up against Appies, whose board looked relatively weak, but did at least find that Morello for the Swain. It is, however, just a Swain 1, and the Olaf is kind of ripping through that. We'll see if the sustain ends up being enough, as that Sunfire, it looks like, has not tagged the Swain. Yeah, it looks like it did not tag the Swain, so he's just healing full every single time.
Yeah, that's huge, and these Jade melee matchups are usually bad for Rengar, but without the anti-heal tagging the Swain is just able to do work, is able to just face tank the Olaf forever. Normally, the Rengars will get stuck and not able to kill something like a Xiaoyu, or when you're playing Siphon, it'll get stuck on the Siphon or the Pantheon as well. But in this situation, they never went to the Olaf. Olaf got stuck, and Appies, with some good fight RNG, able to turn what usually is a losing matchup into a winning one. He hits the Swain 2 as well. So even with his relative inexperience on the comp, he's in a good spot for it.
That's looking solid for Appies. If he can continue to increase the power of that board, I think the Swain 2 is going to make a huge difference, as Renzer going to be on that Graves Seraphine. No items for the Graves yet, but Seraphine and the Aura is going to at least help it do a little bit of damage. However, Renzer is going to get run over by Sully with that Xiaoyu and that Olaf.
Renzer opting into the I'm playing from behind, so I'm going to use Seraphine Graves as my out, playing around a bunch of 3 costs, and it looks like he's going for Recon 3 as well, so playing to that as his out. He did manage to win streak it back before losing to Sully, so finds the Recon 3.
Recon 3?
Yeah, and has Pandora's bench, so that's going to help him find those 3 costs just a little bit easier, even if it is relatively hard. Rolls some pretty good items off the Treasure Dragon, actually finds 2 very good Graves items, the Radiant Titan's Resolve Deathblades, and also rolls a Protector's Vow, which even in its nerf state is a pretty key item for this composition. So yeah, pretty good Treasure Dragon pull for Renzer.
A good setup for Renzer, having the Pandora's bench. He's got a Lee Sin 2 on the side of the bench, so if that can roll into Seraphine, he's going to be just one Seraphine away. That's really nice tech to do for Pandora's bench. If this isn't something you're doing, you're messing up. Make 2 stars of the type that you're trying to get. If it's a 3 cost, make a 2-star 3 cost. Throw it on there. Try and look to finish up your Pandoras.
Yeah, and he's holding extra 3 costs and was rolling for them. Yeah, econ is fake. Oh, finds another 2-star Volibear.
Yeah.
So yeah, the thing about Pandora's bench and rolling for these 3 costs, it's hard to find the ones you want. There's just a few too many just 3 costs in general to reliably hit the Seraphine, but at just a silver augment, you're committing relatively low resources for an outside shot at hitting these 3-star 3 costs. So it's not a bad investment. However, screw investments. Your board just gets blown up by a Shyvana 2 from Wage and Iverson.
Yeah, that is a disgusting amount of damage. Shyvana 2, Giant Slayer, Titan's Resolve, and the Glamorous Gauntlet. Doing so much. Completely just deleting Renzer's board. Weijin going to be in a good spot. We talked about how, trying to bridge the gap in the mid game with that Volibear. Where was the comp going to end up? Ends up on a Shyvana 2 as Renzer finds another Seraphine 2. I was wondering if I was going to see that become a Seraphine 3, but it was just a natural Seraphine 2. So now if any of those 2-star 3 costs on Renzer's bench roll into Seraphine, that will be an instant Seraphine 3. Trick P with the Guild Deja as 2-starred it. Very strong looking board. Big Friend gonna make everything really tanky as well.
Yeah, and he's got 2 loaded dice on the bench as well, so maybe an option to go for some 3-star dragon. The Deja gets hooked, lives for just a second thanks to Gunblade, but not going to live that much longer. A crucial mistake there from Trick P. Doesn't necessarily win the fight if he doesn't get his Deja hooked, but just not paying attention to that item being in the game is going to take a big loss there to Sully.
Yeah, I mean, even if he wouldn't have won the fight, he would have killed a lot more units, and that was a giant hit that Trick P took. And it might cost him big in this game. Trick P was one of the people in one of the best positions out of the early game with that AFK start, being at 90 HP, 50 gold. Absolutely insane. But now down to 25 HP, maybe not in such a good position. Renzer does hit that Seraphine 3. Likely that Pandora's bench did tick over towards it as we jump on with Sag. And here's another transition. We've seen Sag be a little slow on these transitions in the past. There's not as much gold being moved around this time, so it looks like Sag will be able to get everything in. Doesn't have a unit to put in, so it's just about getting the items on for now, and then needs to find a unit to play for the next round, because right now we're 9 of 10.
Okay, he got the items on. We're good to go. That's a much better transition.
Yeah, but Weijin is too strong. This is going to be a big hit from the Shyvana. Going to go through, and one more Flame Breath is going to wipe the rest of this board. See if Aurelion can kill maybe one more thing. Yeah, it takes a little bit. Actually, one more cast. Does it go? Oh, it does not. Very close, but Sag in a position we've seen him before. In the middle of a transition to a full dragon board with 1 life left.
Okay, that one's not as much on Sag. He did get the items on. Within what he did was fast enough. He just didn't hit. He didn't hit a strong enough board. And even despite being able to get all those items on in time, Wage and Iverson is too strong, and this lobby HP, it tightened up a lot. Soul Reaver's sitting pretty at 45 HP, but you got Appy, Sully, 11 HP. Renzer still sitting at 15. You've got Wage and Iverson at 24. You've got a lot of close HPs in this lobby, and a lot of players on 1 life already.
All right, well, moving over to Lucky, has the diamond. Oh my god, those items on Itis are so gross.
Those are absurd.
Actually, those are so gross. Holy. All right, it looks like we're gonna check in with Sag still, just because he is on this last life. He's in 2nd place right now, so taking an 8th would be horrible for Sag, who is in a great position to try and make it to regionals if they can hold on to kind of top 4ing the rest of the game. So you see, once again, is this still 9 of 10? It is.
He's still
Sag
at 9 of 10.
Anything to play. Only getting Shio U2 on this. There's a Terra in the shop that could be locked for.
Is this
Would
enough?
put. I'm not sure. This is going up against Trickbee, who's pretty powerful with that Deja. We're going to see this cast from Deja. How much does it take out? No. That's still going to be Aurelion alive, but I think Sag is just gone. Yeah, Sag. Oh, one more cast. No, Deja's got it. Deja's got it, right?
Oh,
barely.
and he's
Sag,
barely detonated.
Perfect damage.
Wait, no, Appy's got him. No.
Appies has got him, and Sag at least taking a 7th, so still not the worst case scenario, but Sag certainly wanted a better result than that.
Yeah, that's it's even more heartbreak for Appies and Sag when he's out in that top 4. You really don't want to be seeing those bottom 4s. That's going to put him in not a great spot going into game 4.
Yeah, we're getting to the end of our halfway point, and we can start to see when people are falling a little too far behind to come back to a top 2 at this stage. Appies may be one such player. We jump on with Renzer, who has hit that Seraphine 3, has hit the Graves 2, has some pretty good Graves items. It's a very tanky Graves with the double TR, one of the which being Radiant. As long as the Seraphine stays alive, all the damage will be there as well, since it is a Seraphine 3. One more shield. Yeah, she gets it. And there's just going to be a nice win for Renzer staying alive.
Wow, and Sully taking a not quite a bot 4, hanging on at 2 HP, but assuming that he's not able to hold on, it looks like we're seeing some flipping in the standings. Lucky, who's all the way down in 7th, is on a win streak out in the lead, posturing himself to take this game. Trickbee, who's in 8th with 4 points, can maybe hang on for a top 4, and I think we're going to see a lot more condensing of the standings after this game.
Yeah, I mean, Lucky's board is crazy. That Itis is just invincible, and he's got a Deja with really good items for this lobby. Having that Gambler's Blade going to be nice with the Spell Sword, as long as he's got some gold in the bank to work with it. He's got healing. He's got that stacking of the Archangels. This is a really powerful Deja Shimmer Scale board.
Radiant Zephyr as well, and gets dropped a remover to be able to utilize cheesing that item later. So he's definitely posturing himself to cap out. In the meantime, though, Trickbee going for the level 9 double Shyvana shop. I'm not sure if he can use it, but is going to start using the loaded dice, try and maybe fish for the Yasuo too. Just finds
not find it.
Able to find the Bard though, and that's crucial for the 8 guild.
Yep, getting the 8 guild in, upgrading the front line a little bit, even though it is just going to be a Nunu 2 with no items and a Sejuani 2. Will buy a little bit of time, especially since that Jace is stacked and will heal a ton. That Jace is also going to do a lot of damage when we see this cast come through. Does not quite get it on as many targets as he would like. And the Seraphine keeping the shields up. Yeah, that Graves is still standing and still standing a little bit longer. One more cast from Deja. Graves, couple more hits. Yeah, Trickbee going to drop down to 2 health. Will Sully stay alive? Fighting up against Lucky, and Lucky's board is way too strong. Sully's going to go down in 6th.
Yeah, Sully goes down, Trickbee and Renzer and Soul Reaver all on 1 life. Soul Reaver goes down here in 5th. That's really tightening up the standings. That's really going to make things spicy.
Yeah, Soul Reaver hits a Zoe 2. Weijin is on a win streak. We haven't seen his board in a little while. I'm curious how strong he is compared to Lucky, since Lucky's board is just gross with how tanky that Itis is, buying so much time.
Yeah, we're going to see Trickbee, who you can see is guaranteed to go into Soul Reaver, who did, like we said, did end up sticking with the Soam, has the Zoe 2.
Didn't find any mana item, but instead has Bloodthirster to just give sustain. We might be reaching the end of the line for Soul Reaver. It's up to if Trickbee's board is strong enough. It feels like right now Soul Reaver has a lead, but Deja is Spell Sword, so stacking up. The next cast, there is some help from that Zoe 2 being able to sustain. Though that is the Jace.
1v1.
One more jump, one more cast. Which one gets it? The Jace. Jace gets it. And Soul Reaver goes down in 5th. Trickbee
hangs on. Oh my word. Soul Reaver going down. The lack of the mana item mattering in the end there. Renzer and Trickbee hang on. Weijin Iverson taking a hit, I believe, to I'm not sure if it was Lucky or Renzer. He's on 1 life as well. Yeah, Renzer and TrickP hung on the top 4.
Yeah, it's hard to say. One of them would have had a ghost, either Lucky or Renzer. The other fought Wei Jin Iverson. Here we're on Renzer's board, though. He's just trying to hold on. He's in 5th place right now. It's not a bad spot to be. If he gets a good placement here, he's definitely in striking distance at a top 2. Going into Lucky, and that's a Zephyr on his Seraphine. You gotta slice through this Itis, and Graves is gonna have a really rough time doing so. Seraphine finally able to cast, and Bard is gonna hit everybody. Looks like Deja is gonna be able to start slicing everything up as we look at the Itis, and it's still just full HP. It's going to heal back up again, finally proccing some of the diamond hands. But yeah, you can't get through this. Goodbye, Renzer. Does TrickP got you, though, because you took a big hit. TrickP on 2 health. Looks like TrickP will win as well. Wei Jin Iverson going to go down in 3rd. Renzer in 4th. TrickP and Lucky are top 2, both of which were struggling going into this game.
Yeah, and a good Radiant Zephyr from Lucky to nail that Seraphine 3. And to be fair, Renzer's mostly looking to stay stationary. It's hard to move around that Seraphine. It's hard to move around this whole board and dodge the Zephyr. So just good awareness from Lucky and a good Zephyr from him to really help secure that fight. Now in this final 1v1, he has the Magnetic Remover potential to just take that off the Soraka and just basically guarantee he nails the Deja. And he's going to do it. Yep.
Yeah. Lucky also just putting in a Shyvana 2. He was able to natural here. Still has 82 gold, buffing up this Gambler's Blade.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to nail the Zephyr this time. He is going to take the gamble. He is going to hit TrickP's Deja.
Yeah, hits the Deja. Looks like this should be enough for Lucky to win this. The Shyvana items aren't phenomenal, but reducing magic resist is not going to be bad with this Deja casting away in the back. Bard going to land on the carry once more, and it's just a walk in the park from here. It feels like one more cast. Deja with all the spell swords. No, not quite. Yes, it is. Lucky able to find a win. Was in 7th before this. A 1st place, exactly what Lucky needed to stay in the contention for a top 2 today, to stay in contention for a spot at the regional